first of 2 heats in the 5,000. Kip Korea
Meeting our athletes
on the
momentarily.
Road Diamond League. Lightning quick time. 12:46. He's the fastest man in the world this year. We're going for the inside out. Nordas, national champion a couple of times. He's coached by Gert Ingebrigtsen, whose son goes in a second. There's George Beamish, 6th in the Paris Diamond League. Wildschut. Now to Cheptegei, successfully defending his 10,000 metre title, denying the Olympic champion Selimon Barega the world title. And Barega goes in this one. We'll see him in a minute. Bukwanta of Morocco, Pan-American Games, Pan-Arab Games champion. Robinson, area junior record holder in the steeplechase for Australia. Watch for Chelimo as well, World Junior Cross Country medal. Nicholas Kip Korea, just off the podium in Tokyo. What a win in Rome for 12:46. He was magnificent that night in Italy. Fort Worth of Germany, world indoor finalist. Noor of America will get a nice cheer. Somalia now living in Phoenix. Back in Great Britain, Mohammed is part of the refugee team. Good to have him here, the South Sudanese. Silver, 3-time South American champion. Butchart, just off the podium in Rio, needs to rediscover that kind of form. And next to him, this ridiculously talented Selimon Barega, the Olympic champion, got a silver in this event back in 19. He's got speed to burn. Only 5th in the 10, and he'll feel he can do better. Grant Fisher is the 7th fastest in history over the 10,000 metres. He was 4th in that event a few days ago. Are his legs fresh enough to get him through to the final of the 5? CPT, as they call him in Canada. Meshal, such a good performer for Spain. Mohamed, European Youth Under-23 gold medalist for Germany, 2nd from the outside. And there's Bekele, who was just off the podium in this event 3 years ago and ran 12:57 in Rome in the Diamond League behind Kip Korea. 21 men, only 5 of them guaranteed a place in the final. 3 and a bit miles. I love this race. Oh dear, oh dear. Come on, guys. 12 and a half laps. And I love that our director has just noted how old school these guys are. Bekele on the outside was starting his watch. I love distance runners. Why break the habit of a lifetime? You never know. The clocks inside the stadium could falter. Nothing wrong with a bit of old school. Watch him go for the watch. Far left. There he goes. I love that. Distance runners will be nodding their heads in approval on the sofas or in bed if they're watching in the middle of the night. And good evening or good morning if you're watching in Zambia. We've had a load of messages from there, so real hardcore fans of the sport staying awake into the wee small hours. We're delighted to have your company, whether you're watching in Canada, Kenya, across the Caribbean. I know there are loads of people watching in Jamaica. My goodness me, they're going to be excited for the final of the women's too, but I hope you were cheering Latoya Gould getting into the semis of the women's 800 for you. As we focus now on this first heat of the men's 5, all just very steady in these early stages. Do you know, I love watching Barega, Gail. He has got speed to burn, and he's right at the back at the moment, not really interested in what's going on. Although I'll tell you what he will be interested in, restoring a little bit of pride. The Olympic champion was very much hoping he was going to beat Cheptegei, who's had a quiet season in that 10,000, but Cheptegei accelerated brilliantly round the last lap, and even Barega's raw speed and power was not enough to stop the Ugandan successfully defending his title. I'm talking about the 2 men who are right at the back. That's Mashal, the very tactically astute Spaniard who's leading at the moment and was 5th in Tokyo last year. Nobody's interested in setting this pace at all. This is an absolute dawdle. Even I could keep up with this. But hang on. But only for a few laps, he hastens to add. No prizes, no medals given out for scorching round the first 3 or 4 laps in low 60s or 55s or 57s, whatever it's going to take on the last lap of the final for whichever one of these men burns it up. Just double checking when the final of the 5 will be. The women's is Saturday evening, and And the men's is the last distance race. We will have the women's 8 just after the men's 5 on Sunday afternoon. And the last individual track race will be the women's 100 hurdles. And then the relays. Anyway, there's so much still to look forward to, I promise you. Although it does feel, Gail, as though we are kind of edging towards thinking about this is all going to be over, which is so weird because we've been looking forward to this for months, years.
Right. It looks like Borrega's decided that, you know what, hanging in the back, this is not a Saturday jog. I think I'll come up to the front and see what's going on. He's hanging now in 4th position.
Yeah, so the merest hints that it's beginning to speed up. What was that? 250 plus bits at the 1K marker. Now, I mentioned people watching all over the world, and I know we have some interested spectators in Australia, and you'll be very interested and delighted to hear that Catriona Bisset launched a counter-appeal to the initial appeal that saw Bello forwarded to the semis, but Bisset not. The Aussies have gone back with another protest, and she has been forwarded to the semi-finals. So Catriona Bisset, who crashed to the ground in the second heat, is going to be in the semi-finals, along with Ilana Bello, whose race she disrupted on her way down. And the moral of that story, if you are a young athlete, no matter how devastated you feel at being pushed to the ground or falling to the ground, always, always, always get up and finish your race, because if Bisset had stayed on the ground feeling sorry for herself, she would not have had the grounds on which to mount the protest. Because she got up, even though it was 20 seconds after everyone else had finished, it enabled the Australians to launch the protest, so Bisset will be in the semi-finals. Here ended the lesson. Let's get back on with the here and now.
Love it.
The Olympic 10,000 metre champion, Selimon Borrega, is leading from Bashar with Grant Fisher in 3rd place. Nicholas Kipkorir, fastest man in the world this year with that 12.46 plus bits from Rome. He's in 3rd. And interesting that Joshua Cheptegei, having been at the back, has now decided to pay close order and attention to the leading quartet, because that leading quartet is high quality. As Andy Butchart comes up onto Kipkorir's shoulder, the man who was 6th in Rio, he's really hoping to rediscover some decent form. Chelimo is the other Ugandan, World Junior cross-country medalist in Aarhus. What an old school course we were treated to in Denmark. There was a brutal hill. It was hard enough to walk up, let alone run. But a great edition of the World Cross. And Michele takes to that. I wonder if he's going to check his watch for the splits.
It was funny when he came up on the side of Borrega. He's like, I'll take this now. I got this. Kind of checked over, looked over at him. Here, Kipkorir is coming up on the outside, just wanting to stay in that position, knowing that only the top 5 automatically qualify going to the next round. And I know Fisher is looking to get that hometown flavor with the fans to cheer him on.
And you know, if this continues to be really slow, it massively plays into the hands of the athletes in this second of the heats, because they go into that heat knowing exactly what they have to do in order to take a non-automatic spot. So if they make it fast the second heat, if this continues to be quite slow, you could get 10 through from the second heat. Listening to Tim Hutchings commentate yesterday, we love Tim, he's quite old school, and he'll probably slap me for that anyway. He is of vintage years, but like a fine wine, he's getting better with age. But anyway, Tim was saying that he would prefer, when you're in this situation, with 2 massive heats, he would prefer to say, right, we'll have 7 from one, 8 from the other, or 8 and 8, and you have 16, and there are no non-automatic spots. I personally quite like the intrigue and the drama of the non-automatic places. Where do you stand on that debate?
I'm kind of with you, because I like to see, everybody go for it and see where they have. I like the drama of having to wait. I've been in that position. It's not a good place to be if you have to be the one waiting, but it leads itself for for some opening and some drama.
Well, that debate continues. And we'll run and run.
There was one minute, Chelimo was sitting in the back, and I guess he's decided you guys are really going too slow. I'm going to have to take this out and see who's bold enough to come with me.
Well, I also thought that, but Cheptegei has drifted back in the pack. It's his compatriot Chelimo who's decided to go to the front. Although, as I say that, Cheptegei comes effortlessly past a few and begins to move to the halfway stage of that big pack. So it's Chelimo who's leading, with Cheptegei, the double world champion now over 10,000 metres. And remember, still the reigning world cross country champion, because we haven't had the World Cross yet. That's going to Australia. Fingers crossed, touch with COVID and all that, in February. Cheptegei just on the left there in the middle of your picture, as De Silva of Brazil comes round now to have a little look at the front. And this is the point at which any of these guys who feel they haven't got a raw burst of acceleration come the end of the race decide to make this pace a little more honest, to give themselves half a chance of a non-automatic spot if they think that at least 5 are going to burn them up on the last lap.
And who would you say has the most foot speed, raw foot speed? Would it be Barega?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I was surprised. Cheptegei is a brilliant sprinter on the last lap. That's why he won the Olympic title over the 5,000 last year. But Barega was quicker than him in Tokyo, and that's why Barega is the Olympic champion over the 10. So, having said Barega, there have been 1 or 2 signs that by his own ridiculously high standards, Barega's perhaps not quite on the sort of 53-point pace that he can sometimes produce, and that he needed to get him the Olympic title last year. But yeah, the likes of Barega and Cheptegei, this should be fine in theory with a pacey last lap as they come round now with 4 to go. Grant Fisher is at the front, but almost the entire field are queuing up behind him, and this is going to get a little bit tense in the closing stages of this 12 and a half lap battle to make the 5,000 final, which will be on the last day on Sunday evening. And how they will roar. What I've learned about Haywood Field, I kind of assumed, because this is a predominantly American audience, although people have travelled in pockets of people have travelled from around the world, I thought they would make more noise for the sprint events, because I haven't been to Haywood Field before. What I've loved is how engaged and engrossed and how authoritative and knowledgeable this crowd have been about the distance races. The roar before the last lap of both 10,000 finals was absolutely magnificent.
They're starting to separate a little bit, because they make me so nervous when they're so bunched up when it gets towards the end, because I just think something's going to happen and I don't want it to.
Yeah, you never want to see these people flat on the track like Bissett in the second heat of the women's 8. Right then, little by little they're beginning to lose 1 or 2. We've got a little group of 3 off the back now as they jostle for position, all behind Grant Fisher. Top 5, remember. Michele, who started his watch, is he going to stop it with the moment of satisfaction of knowing he's in the top 5? You know, Mashal is such a good-looking runner. He's got a lovely, long, fluid stride, big, powerful shoulders. The Spaniard in 4th. Kim Correa, I beg your pardon. The winner of the Rome Diamond League. He's up there. Cheptegei is still in touch in that group. Also in there is Nur, it's Somalian, who now represents the United States. Good running as well by CPT of Canada. There was a little glimpse there of how excited the crowd get with these 5,000s. They'll come round the next time and hear the bell. Barega now coming up on the outside. He's not the tallest figure. Chelimo's drifted off the back. That isn't Cheptegei. Cheptegei is just there in the centre of your picture now. Good work by the camera crew there, just clarifying that the Olympic champion over 5,000 metres is there. And Cheptegei just running in 4th or 5th, just had to give a nod there to Kip Career to say, listen, let's not trip each other up. Borrega and Bekele. Fisher's on the curb. Cheptegei on the outside where he should be. Good running as well by Kai Robinson of Australia to stay with this group. And having said Michal is such a good-looking runner, he's looking laboured now. They take the bell in this first heat of the 5,000 metres. And Chelimo, the other Ugandan, has managed to reattach himself to this group as Robinson of Australia comes wide on the outside. Really aggressive piece of acceleration by him. Remember, only the first 5 guaranteed a spot in the final. Noor trying to come through on the inside. So 2 Americans on the inside, 2 Ugandans on the outside, and 2 Ethiopians leading. Kai Robinson just having a little look over his shoulder. He's on the right of picture, the Australian. He's having a good run. Can he find something else? Kip Career, the Kenyan, the fastest man in the world this year, is a little bit boxed here. Cheptegei with Chelimo coming wide. Fisher still holding that inside line. Robinson's losing a little bit of ground but needs to keep going. Oh, look at this. Big burn up for the line. Chelimo and Cheptegei. Borrega is okay, but Bekele will miss out. Good running by Grant Fisher. Butchart and Atkin a long way down. Michal lost a massive amount of ground on that last lap. I thought he'd been running really well, the Spaniard. He'll be bitterly disappointed to have been run out of that one. 13.24 plus bits. Chelimo taking it. Really good run by him. Cheptegei will also be there. Borrega, Fisher. So the 10,000 metre Olympic champion and the 5,000 metre Olympic champion will be there. Looks like Noor of the United States has also made it through. Bekele will be really, really disappointed. And Kip Career was out-nudged on the line. It was a bit of carnage there as they approached. 3.24 plus 5.6. So the fastest man in the world this year will face an anxious wait. And if they make that an honest pace in the second of the heats, if it's quicker than 3.24, they can get 10 from that second heat into the final. The fastest man in the world this year, Nicholas Kip Career, will have to wait and see.
Great run coming home on that last 100 meters where everyone was just going for it. You saw 2 Americans, 2 Kenyans, 2 Ethiopians, and they were all really running to get there. I think Robinson tried to go at 300 meters and he may have went too soon, but coming into this last 100 meters, you see everybody giving it their all, coming on the outside and running hard. The Americans on the inside trying to get there, and Chelimo coming across the finish line in first.
You already know that is going to be an amazing final, and we've got incredible talent coming in the second of the heats.
And they do show him stopping his stopwatch.
There we go, there we go. Oh, we just missed it. We promised you, though, he did stop his stopwatch, which would have said 13.24.77. Give or take 100th of a second.